Alright, welcome to another episode of Psoto Desperado Plays Ark Survival Ascended. As you may have noticed in the playlist, I have mixed Star Wars The Old Republic with this. That's why I changed the title of the playlist to Psoto Desperado Plays Games. So I could, switch it up now and again. No reason not to. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and start cooking this. And I got the last mutation I needed last time. So that's why we're here. We moved on to the next mutation. Don't need that. Don't need that. And I can eat this. And we're going to see if we can get some eggs. Hold on. Yeah, I think the next level is 42 or 442, something like that. Alright, so I do have a video for Joey the Gypsy. This is from a year ago, though. It says, just trying to explain why I find modern Western society so frustrating. So he's having a bit of a rant.
Alright, it's just going to be like a bit of a rant. My car's finally running, thank God. Although, to be honest, it's really not running 100%. Like, that's pretty much what the rant is about. We're all getting screwed in so many ways that it's hard to fathom. And it's like, first off, thanks for all the subs, thanks for the likes, thanks for the comments. I appreciate every single one of you. Thanks for the tips, links in the description. Appreciate every single one of you. Thanks for the Patreon support. Appreciate every single one of you. The last video I put up on Patreon is just, I didn't make the video, but it's really, really interesting. I hope it makes sense to y'all, because, if you follow what this guy's saying closely, and he's giving out a lot of information, I'll put it to you that way. There's a lot of things to look up from what he is saying, that it'll lead you down some really deep rabbit holes if you listen to what that guy's saying. So, anyway, and it has to do with what I'm talking about now too. It's like we're all getting screwed over in so many ways that, it's really hard to comprehend it. Like, do you realize how much effort it takes to make resources scarce in a place like America, where this is such rich, fertile land filled with so many resources that in order to make anything scarce, it takes this entire system, this entire ridiculous network of nonsense that they call a society. It's the entire thing is designed just to make you not realize that you're being robbed blind at every turn. Like, every ounce of sweat and work that you generate resources with, it's all being stolen from you. I'll put it to you this way: if you worked 40 hours a week, 5 days a week, 8 hours a day on your own piece of property with your own land, you would be filthy rich. You'd be able to support an entire village of people off of just your work alone, honestly. Like, in order for them to, like, this, the entire thing is just built to rob you of everything. Like, here's an example. Take rent, for instance. Like, I used to do construction, so I know what it costs to build something. Now, the thing that really hit me when I was doing construction was I was thinking about the apartment that I lived in, not the entire building, just my little cell, you know, my apartment. So what I realized is that me and one other person could build that apartment, not the entire building, but, you know, my apartment. We could build the entire thing for like $1,000, and it would take us maybe a month or two. And they had me paying $600-700 a month to live in this place that was worth maybe $1,000. But over the time that I lived there, I ended up giving them like tens of thousands of dollars for this apartment that is not worth a fraction of that. And it's happening to everyone in New York City. All the apartments in New York City were built for the working poor. They're weird, crappy, dilapidated, shitty apartments. I mean, there's apartments in New York City where literally there's like, the shower will be in the kitchen because there's not enough room for it in the bathroom. It won't even have a bathtub. And there's people paying $2,000 a month to live in there. So it's just so they can tell everyone that they live in New York City. Oh wow, there's a cool little gray bird right there. Huh, nope, I can't give him no food right now. It'll screw the video up. He wants some food though. So yeah, and then, you know, there's people paying $4,000 a month for apartments in New York City that are literally worth nothing. It's a dilapidated, crappy dump that is falling apart. But these people will never tell you that because they just want to be on Instagram saying, I live in New York City, you know? But the reality is they live in a dump surrounded by lunatics. New York is just getting crazier and crazier. Mm-hmm. But they'll never tell you that, you know? And half of them probably don't even fucking realize it because we're all just so brainwashed and confused. None of us know what the hell is actually going on. But, like, another funny thing in New York City is, you know, these people, you'll see them on Instagram, like, with their selfies all over New York, talking about how great New York is. But I know I was in the underworld in New York City, so I would see these people walking down the street, and the homeless people know they're targets, these people. So, like, and they'll put up with anything just to be able to tell everyone on Instagram that they live in New York City. So they'll be walking down the street, and a homeless person will come up and ask them for money, and, you know, sometimes they'll say no, and the homeless person knows that all they need to do is get a little more intimidating and keep following this person and act a little threatening, and they're gonna come up off their money. This is what they do. It's like, it only works on people who aren't from New York, because the people who are from New York don't, you know, they don't take much shit. They grew up around it. But the reality is, in New York, most of the people who are actually from New York either live on Long Island or in Florida now. Because, you know, they basically ran us all out of there. And here's the other thing. We grew up here and, like, we stole the land from the indigenous people. Well, you know what? They stole my land in New York City. They ran us out of there. They didn't do it with violence because they would have lost, but they did it with rent. So all the people who built New York City and all their ancestors have basically been ran out of there because, you know, people would buy these buildings and they would charge insane amounts for the rent. And here's the other thing. These mega rich people who buy these buildings in New York City, they don't care if it gets rented. They want a safe place to hold their money. So let's say they buy this building in the Lower East Side, and they can just charge any ridiculous amount they want for rent, because these people who buy these buildings, they're not hurting for money. They don't need that, they don't need the passive income of rent. And a lot of them, they don't even want to deal with it. So they'll make the price so ridiculous that nobody wants it. Or there'll be people who are just so... that shirt hanging in the background is really bothering me, dude. But it is what it is. But so they'll charge just insane amounts of money because they don't care if it gets rented or not. But then you got these other people who, their parents are willing to just fund their life, and they want to be in the Big Apple, and so they'll be paying $4,000 a month to live in a dump in a shithole with homeless people sleeping outside, and they're willing to put up with it just to be able to tell everyone they live in New York City. And here's the other thing with New York, it's like, New York's great if don't get me wrong, that's my city, bro, and I love New York City. But what bothers me is that these people, they pretend that it's a lot better than it actually is. You know what I mean? Because they've got to justify in their own heads that they're paying $4,000 a month to live in an apartment where the hot water works every other day, or where there's roaches and rats, and it's dilapidated and falling apart. New York City's got the best food in the world. As far as clubs and bars and shit, you can't do no better, bro. I ain't never, I go out to a bar alone in New York City, and next thing I know, I'm hanging out with a chick. That's how New York is. New York is great like that. But the other thing is, it's like, is that what you want to do with your life? Just get wasted and have shallow relationships that last a night? It's great for that, if that's what you want to do. But that'll lead to just as much depression as everything else in this friggin' society. So my point with the, like they say, oh, we stole all the land from the indigenous. We didn't steal it. The people, the people who stole all their land are the same people who stole all the land in New York. It's the same people who have been stealing everything from everyone since the dawn of time. It's like, we're realistically, we are all slaves. It's if you're working for someone else, you are a slave. It's that simple. I mean, none of us realize it because we've grown up in this system where it's just, oh, everyone works. That's just what everyone does. And that's true. Everyone does have to work. 10,000 years ago, everyone had to work. You had to hunt. You had to either grow your own food or go out and hunt it, And that's, that's the time I belong in. I don't belong in this modern time. I can't even... I can't barely keep up with half the shit that's going on. That's another reason, now that I've got a car and I've got, a little bit of money coming in with the YouTube and shit, and it's all this shit now that I got to deal with, I had to borrow a bunch of money off one of my best friends to pay for my car. And so now I've got to, pay attention to all, count all my money and all this shit and figure out how I got to pay him back. It's this is why I dropped off the face of the earth, because I don't want to deal with all this bullshit. Throw me out in the woods with a knife, and I'll carve myself a spear, and I will hunt, and I will thrive. I'll build my own kingdom. I'm good with that type of shit. But in this world, I'm basically useless. I can't stand working for other people. I'm good, I'm a decent carpenter. I like to do that type of shit, but I do not like doing it for other people. And then the other thing is when, even in construction, there's going to be these cutthroat, weirdo type people who are trying to, they're constantly trying to make themselves look good and make you look bad. And it's it brings out the worst in everyone. It's I don't want to deal with none of these people or none of this nonsense. It's, they've got us all acting like fools. They've got us all trying to steal from each other, and that's another thing I won't do. I'm not gonna make my living ripping people off. That was when I was younger, I sold a little bit of weed for a little while, and I realized if I want to actually succeed in this, I'm gonna have to kind of rip people off. Otherwise, I'm just not making that much money. So I was like, is that what I want to do? Just like kind of con everyone and nickel and dime everyone and weighing and weighing everything and arguing with people all the time and, oh, this was short or that was, So I realized at a pretty young age that's not for me. I don't want to be bickering with everyone over this little nickel and dime bullshit. I don't want to deal with it. And it's like, it just goes down the line. Like, let's say you... I'm not even going to get into it because I don't want to get demonetized, but this entire society is just like, it's almost like a big network of people, just everyone's just screwing each other over. Like these mechanics, for instance, they're not honest, you know what I mean? When I bought this truck, this car, whatever you want to call it, it's a CRV. I don't know if it's a truck or a car or what. It's like a car with a with a SUV body. But so when I bought it, you assume when you buy a used car, it's going to at least be what they say it is, which it should be in any honest society where the people aren't a bunch of scumbags. They're going to sell you, if there's something wrong with it, they're going to tell you. If I'm selling someone a car and there's something wrong with it, I'm not going to pretend that there isn't. I'm going to tell them what's up, and the price is going to reflect it, It's like, why would I? Other than that, it's stealing. Everyone thinks like, oh, it's not stealing. Like salesmen, like, oh, it's not stealing because they gave me the money voluntarily. It's like, I have more respect for someone who's out on the street just robbing people to their face than some sneaky little, snake type person just selling used cars that don't work. He's stealing money too. It's just that he's doing it in a legal way, and he doesn't have enough balls or physical strength to do it on the street. He doesn't have the courage to do that. And I'm not saying that people should do that, but I have more respect for someone who, it's like, that's honest robbery. They're coming straight to your face, like, give me what you got, and that's that. And what you like, how you want to handle it. We can sling iron, we can throw hands. You're gonna give me what you got, or you're gonna kill me. You know what I mean? And it's like, I got more respect for that than I do for these sneaky little salesmen who just con everyone out of their money by telling them lies. It's like, if you were being honest, they would not have you're stealing their money. If you were being honest, they would not have given you their money. So, I realized that when they had me telemarketing, I'm like, I was thinking to myself, if I'm gonna steal people's money, I'm gonna do it in their face. You know what I mean? If that's what I'm gonna do with my life, then I'm gonna take the karmic consequences straight up in my face. Like, I'm not going to sneak around and be weak about it. I'm going to do it straight up. Like, I'm not going to pretend it's something that it isn't. If that's what I'm going to do, then that's what I'm going to do. And I almost did it when I was living in Vegas until I got right down to it. And I realized, are you really willing to take people's life because of money? And I realized I was out on the street with my little weapon looking for a target. I can't even believe it's that I was ever thinking this way, but I was thinking this way. And it hit me that I'm not doing that, because if they fight back, then I gotta really hurt them. And there's other ways to make money. I'm a creative person. I'm a smart person. I'm not going to resort to this. I don't have to resort to this, and I'm not doing it. And I said, I don't care if I starve to death. I'm not doing that, because it didn't sit well with my soul. It didn't sit well with my heart. I wasn't about to live like that. And so, like, I like Andrew Tate. I like him, but if you watch his little Hustlers University videos, it's pretty much leaked online. he's basically telling everyone to just be kind of a sleazy salesperson, which, let me tell you something, and this is what the Tates don't tell you. All the money in the world is not going to take that off your conscience. I don't care. Some people think, oh, I don't have a conscience. Yeah, meanwhile, you can't sleep and you're looking for antidepressants and your body barely functions. It's like, yeah, you do have a conscience. You're just not in touch enough with yourself to realize it, to hear it. But what they don't tell you is that all the money in the world is not going to bring you true peace, which is what everyone is looking for, just inner peace. They think they want money, they think they want girls, they think they want, lavish lifestyles and all this shit. But ask anyone who's had it and they'll tell you it ain't all it's cracked up to be. All these extremely expensive restaurants and shit, half of them, the food ain't even good. I'd rather have my mother's cooking all day every day over any expensive restaurant. And that's the truth. My mother was a great cook. She probably could have been like a extremely well paid chef somewhere, but she was just cooking for us. But my mother was into it, like she liked to cook and she was pretty creative with it, and everything my mother made was delicious. Like, my mother can make me a steak and steamed vegetables, and it was like the greatest thing I ever, I loved it. And to this day, I haven't found anyone who can match it, like, I don't know what it was, but my mother would make me this, she'd cook me up a steak, and she'd steam me some vegetables with butter, and I still, if I could find somewhere where I could buy that, I'd be buying it. And, but I go to, if I get a steak and vegetables around here, it ain't the same. Same in New York. It's my mother's cooking was the best. But I mean, that's what these rich people don't tell you, is that it's all a big ripoff. It's all about the atmosphere. The food they're getting is the same for the most part. Well, a lot of the food in America is poisoned, literally. So a lot of these mega rich people, what they won't tell you is they don't eat anything that wasn't grown themselves. They have their own farms. I'm talking about the mega rich, the mega elites, who are they're above anyone you've ever heard of. You never even heard of the real elites. I'll put it to you that way. They're too smart to be out here making a target out of themselves, like these dim-witted politicians and celebrities. That those people are the bottom of the pyramid. They don't even register. Like they're clowns, basically. But that's what these mega rich people won't tell you, is all the money in the world is still, the crap that they're getting is basically the same crap we're getting. A supercar, whatever, that's fine. How often do you get to drive 200 miles an hour? And then if you do get to drive 200 miles an hour, how often do you crash and die? Like, yeah, that's great. It'd be nice to have a supercar or whatever, but, it's, for the most part, you're just driving it like a normal person anyway. What, everyone gets to look at you for a minute and think you're cool. Like, if that matters to you, then that's fine. But and it matters to me on some level. I don't want to be driving around a dilapidated piece of crap, making all kinds of noises and looking like an idiot. But the truth is, deep down, I don't care that much. Like, my car does not define me. My job doesn't define me. My money doesn't define me. Just like Tyler Durden said in Fight Club, you're not your wallet, you're not your job. That's a great book. The movie is great, but the book is even better. Although I've got to say that that's one of the few movies where they really nailed it. Like, the movie's very accurate to the book. But yeah, that was another thing I realized why I kind of quit my job, was I realized that just being another cog in the machine, like, sure, I'll fit in, but that ain't me, And it's like, so I was thinking, if I end up homeless, everyone's going to think I'm a bum. They're going to think I'm a loser, this and that, which a lot of them did. But it's like, I can't live my life according to what other people think of me. And I don't regret it, you know. I don't regret it at all, because, like I said, I would have been bored to tears if I had lived any other way. I had to keep myself interested in living, you know, like. And I realized that, yeah, it'd be nice to have a wife and kids and all that, and I guess if I had kids, my life would revolve around them. But from what I've seen, the whole long-term relationships in this society, in this day and age, I'm not sure that's the way to go. But everyone's got to figure out their own thing, you know what I mean? But I don't know. They've broken everything down to the point where, you know, people can't even, men and women can't even function together anymore. They've got men and women against each other. It's like, back a couple of thousand years ago, if men and women were competing, like, oh, I can do anything you can do, that tribe would get wiped out by another tribe who was actually working together, where the women were using their strengths and the men were using their strengths. If they had a bunch of women, like, I want to be able to hunt too, so, you know, I want to fight in the wars too, and they would just get smoked. It would, you know, natural selection would wipe them out. Our entire society, if you know, any other society that actually functioned in a natural way would smoke us in a fight, you know, because we're all so confused and brainwashed and brain damaged at this point. It's like, but yeah, I mean, back to the original point, is that pretty much a high percentage of the resources that you generate, which is money, is being swiped out from under you in a million different ways. You think taxes are theft. Everything is theft. Insurance, rent, you know, what you're paying for food and what you're getting in return. You're being robbed at every turn. Fixing your car at the mechanic, buying a car. You're being robbed everywhere you turn around. Gas prices. I've heard from a very reliable source that, and you can believe it, you believe it or don't believe it, but oil is not scarce. It's a natural resource that the earth produces. Now, if I'm wrong, let me know, but this is what I heard from someone who knows a lot. So what I've heard is that oil, it's the more oil you take from the earth, the more oil the earth produces. It's the same way that it doesn't matter what the birth rate is, there's going to be more females than males, because the earth keeps itself in balance. So the other thing is, fossil fuels have nothing to do with fossils. You know, gas is not made from dead dinosaurs or anything. They just gave it that name so that they could pretend that there's scarcity, so that they can just rob you blind. And if I'm wrong, let me know. But don't just come at me with a bunch of minutia and bullshit about OPEC and nonsense. Prove to me, show me that oil is a scarce resource that the earth does not generate, like, indefinitely. Like, because where I heard that from is someone who knows a lot. I'll put it to you that way. I hate the weekend at the park because there's just way more people around, and I prefer to not have a bunch of people around. But yeah, and here's the other thing that kills me. It's I remember in 3rd grade they started teaching us that basically we're responsible for slavery. And I remember even in 3rd grade I was thinking to myself, that doesn't seem right. They were telling me that white people used to own black people as slaves. And as I got older and I started looking into it, I realized that most white people have never owned slaves, and their ancestors never owned slaves. It was a very small percentage of the population of white people owned slaves, and the reality is that they are the same people who are in control now, and they have us all enslaved. And so you gotta hand it to them. They're playing like 5D chess, and we're playing checkers, you know, we're playing friggin' tic-tac-toe, like, but they've basically got all the slaves blaming each other and at odds with each other and thinking they're free. The manipulation is some next level shit. It's amazing. Like, you gotta hand it to them. I mean, but you also gotta realize that it's not even a fair fight, because they've had control for so long that they can brainwash us into anything. So, you know, they've got us blaming ourselves for all of their crimes. They were the ones who enslaved everyone. They were the ones who stole all the land from everyone. They are the ones who are stealing the land as we speak, buying up all the real estate, and they're gonna just dump it all off in the near future and just tank all the real estate markets. It's the same people doing the same shit all throughout history, and we, like a bunch of dummies, are bickering and blaming each other and fighting for the little crumbs that they let fall on the floor, and it really bothers me. And it's like, you got working class people screwing each other over constantly, and you know, we're not only being screwed by the people who hold all the power, we're being screwed by each other. But me personally, I don't take part in it. When I found out like 2 years ago that my engine was having issues, I could have sold this thing. I could have reset the code with my little OBD2 scanner. I'm not a mechanic, but I know enough to where I could have turned that check engine light off, and I could have erased all the codes and sold this car. They could have even scanned it. Everything would have said it was fine. And I could have sold it for more than I even paid for it. But, and I, believe me, it occurred to me, I was thinking about doing it, but then I was thinking, if I do that, I am no better than this used car salesman piece of shit who sold me a car with a messed up engine. And I'm like, you know, I can do that, but I don't want to be that way. So it was my bad for buying the thing, but it's a long story. I had no choice, really. All my money was going down the drain living in a hotel. I was planning on living in a car, but you know, shit, this video is getting kind of long. So basically, I had to just bite the bullet on that. I could have sold this thing. I can sell it right now. I can, you know, but I'm just gonna ride this thing till the wheels fall off, and by then, hopefully, I'll have enough saved up to buy something that is, you know, that is gonna run for a while without giving me issues. But my whole point is that people need to stop screwing each other over. They need to stop seeing each other as the enemy, and they need to start realizing that the only way we're going to change this upside down ridiculous bullshit, and the only way we're going to turn it around, is to stop blaming each other and start blaming the people who are really messing shit up. You know, I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat. Let me tell you something, and I'm sure you've heard it before, but they are on the same team. The Democrats are just a quicker death. The Republicans do the same crap the Democrats do. They just do it a little slower and a little more subtle. I mean, I'll make another video, I guess, and try to really just break it down and get people, because, you know, I find it all really annoying too, but I really don't argue about politics too much anymore, because I realize that these people who I'm arguing with are not at fault. They are just as, you know, they're being manipulated just like I am into wanting to blame each other and hate each other, when the reality is it ain't their fault. They might be buying into the propaganda, and, you know, I may think they're kind of stupid, but the reality is that calling them stupid and calling them an idiot and being pissed off at him is not going to change anything. what's his name, that Yuri Bensonov or whatever. Look him up. It's a great video um, about how they manipulate and control everything. But basically, what he said is, you cannot subvert someone who is not willing to be subverted, which is basically, you can't sell them the bullshit propaganda unless they're willing to believe it, unless they're willing to ignore the truth in their heart and believe what someone else is telling them. Anyways, I gotta watch this video back, make sure it makes sense, but I've got a lot to say about this type of stuff, and I just hope that I can get it out there and reach as many people as possible, because we can't just let them keep screwing everything up. We can't let them have us at each other's throats over a bunch of crumbs. Anyways, so you know, another thing is, I'm trying to learn how to make reaction videos. What's a good software for that? Because there's some videos on YouTube where I really want to go over it with you guys and show y'all some shit, because yeah, there's some really, I watch these videos and I'm like, damn, I want to like explain some of this to people and watch it with them, you know what I mean? So like, I'm trying to, like, I don't know, Streamlabs is one that I've been told, but if anyone knows how to make reaction videos, let me know. And I'm still trying to figure it out. I mean, eventually I'll figure it out, obviously. I'm not like a moron, but I'd rather if someone could just tell me the quickest, easiest way to do it, because there's a video I want to react to so badly that I can't wait to do it. I feel like it's going to get 1 million views. Anyways, I'll see y'all later in the week. Maybe I'll go live. We'll do like a live sunset on Clearwater Beach maybe this week. I don't know. We'll see. The weather's kind of crap right now in Florida, so, but it's going to get nicer later in the week. It's spring break around Clearwater Beach, so I'll go live from Clearwater at some point this week. Anyways, have a good day, everyone. Thanks for the support. I appreciate every single one of you. And I will see y'all later in the week.
Unfortunately, when Joey's right, he's right. And you can't really argue with it. I'm sorry. Don't have any real options there for that. He's right. I mean, it's all bullshit. And it's all, people pretending to fight. The Democrats lost because they bullshitted too much. And they kept slinging mud was more important, and trying to demean these other people is more important than hold on. No, baby, you can't have any of that. You can't eat that gum. No, baby. No, no. No, no. No, no. Get out of there. You can't have that gum. I have a cat here trying to eat gum. That's not good for them. No, baby. Come on, girl. 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 No girl. No girl. Come on. Give me the gum. Don't eat the gum. Girl. Girl. Oh my God. Excuse me. Girl. Okay. Give me this. Give me this. Get this away from her. She smells gum and she goes for it for some reason. I don't know why. It's not good for you, baby. Gum is not good for you, Angel. How you doing, girl? How you doing? How you doing? Girl. Alright. Looks like it's going to get cold tonight. She wandered in here. Alright, guys. Shoot. Let me see if I can go park my animal. And then I'll deal with her. See if I can make it back to base. Because I think she wants to eat. Girl. Girl. She's somebody else's cat. I feed her as often as I can. Because she's a sweetheart. But thing is, she has, just like Mama, she's got a bad side to her. Girl. Girl. How you doing, girl? You okay, girl? Girl. Girl. Where's my bird? Oh, watch it, baby. Oh, she's just running around. Alright. I'm going to go ahead and take it back to base and do that. I think she's going to sleep inside tonight because it's kind of cold out there. I think that's what's going on. She doesn't always sleep inside. Like if it's a hot night, you know, she's not going to bother. Anyway, yeah, I mean, the social dynamic has been attacked indirectly by various powers on the planet. And the result is women that don't want to have sex with men, men that don't want to have sex with women anymore because they're a pain in the ass. You know, basically, they're pointing. They train them to point the finger at each other and blame each other, and destroy their dynamic, which is the man and woman coming together to create a life and to live a life and be happy. That's usually the way it's supposed to work, but that's just not happening. Not much anymore, anyway, from what I've heard online. Remember, this video is from a year ago, before the election. You know, and he was ranting. He's just kind of fed up with it. Oh, shoot. Actually, some decent blueprints. I didn't think I could get a bunch of pearls out of these things, but I guess so. It's a low level long neck. It's still decent. Low level pike. Capro's pretty decent level. So I ain't complaining. Alright, I'm kind of tired, so I'm going to get ready to go to bed. And I think we're okay here. I think we finished. Yeah, we finished. Go put this in storage. All right. Well, we got some good stuff. We also got a baryonic saddle. You see, I promised myself I wouldn't breed anything unless I could get the saddle. And now that I have a baryonic saddle, where was it? There. 301. That's not bad. You know what I mean? Oh. Alright, guys. I'm going to call the video here. Maybe next time we'll do Star Wars. It just depends. Right now, remember, I'm still trying to breed and get the next level of Carno mutation for Melee. And plenty of work to do. I just haven't been up to it. I've been kind of out of it because of my sickness. But, you know, I'm thankful I'm still here. You all have a good one. You take care. Bye-bye.